What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about learning a new language was completely wrong? Have you ever spent countless hours memorizing vocabulary lists only to freeze up the moment a native speaker asks you a simple question? You're not alone. Millions of language learners worldwide are trapped in this frustrating cycle, studying for years, yet unable to hold even basic conversations. But what if there was a method so powerful, yet so simple, that it could transform your language learning journey almost overnight? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the globe. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Today, I'm going to share with you the exact technique used by one of the greatest minds of the 20th century to master complex subjects with remarkable ease. Richard Feynman, Nobel Prize-winning physicist, wasn't just a scientific genius. He was a learning genius. And his approach to understanding anything can revolutionize how you learn languages forever. Has this ever happened to you? You've memorized hundreds of words in your target language, but when you try to actually use them, your mind goes blank. Or maybe you've studied grammar rules until your eyes hurt, yet you still can't form a natural-sounding sentence. That's because traditional language learning methods have it backward. They focus on accumulation rather than understanding, on quantity rather than quality. The Feynman technique takes a radically different approach. Instead of trying to memorize complex phrases like, "I would appreciate it if you could assist me," you start with the essence, "Please help." This seemingly simple shift creates a profound change in how your brain processes language. When you strip away the complexity and focus on core elements, something magical happens. You begin to truly understand how the language works, not just memorize its parts. But here's where it gets really interesting. Stay with me until the end, because the second step of this method is where most language learners experience their biggest breakthrough. Imagine trying to explain a concept in your target language to someone else. Perhaps how verb conjugation works, or why certain expressions are used in specific contexts. The moment you attempt to teach, your understanding transforms. Suddenly, those passive vocabulary words become active tools you can actually use in real conversation. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because this teaching element doesn't require a classroom or even another person. You can do it with your phone camera, a mirror, or even an empty chair. When you verbalize your understanding, your brain is forced to organize information in logical patterns rather than disjointed facts. The stumbling points reveal exactly where your knowledge gaps lie, precisely the areas you need to focus on. Now, imagine being able to have natural, flowing conversations in your target language without constantly searching your memory for words. Picture yourself understanding not just what to say, but why you're saying it that way. The freedom that comes with this level of language mastery is within your reach, and it all starts with simplifying. But this is just the beginning. If you're serious about mastering languages faster using these proven techniques, hit that subscribe button now and join our community of Feynman-inspired learners. Let's talk about what happens after you've identified those gaps in your understanding. This is where the hidden truth of language mastery reveals itself. It's not about adding more complexity, but about revisiting and refining what you already know. When you stumble while trying to explain a concept, that's your signal to journey back to the source material, but with a transformed mindset this time. For example, when you encounter something intimidating like the subjunctive mood in Spanish, textbooks might describe it as a grammatical mood used to express wishes, doubts, or hypothetical situations. But that definition itself becomes a barrier. The breakthrough comes when you translate it into something like, "We use this for things that aren't real yet." Suddenly the fog lifts. This process of returning and re-simplifying creates a profound impact on how your brain processes language. What's fascinating is that each cycle of review doesn't just reinforce the same neural pathways, it actually builds new ones. It's like sculpting a rough stone into a diamond, where each pass reveals more clarity. This is why some people seem to just get languages, while others struggle despite years of study. The difference isn't intelligence, it's approach. The true revelation comes in the fourth stage of the Feynman method. Your brain doesn't learn through repetition, it learns through connection. When you create multiple versions of the same concept, you're essentially building a network in your mind that makes recall automatic rather than forced. Imagine describing your morning routine first in present tense. I wake up at 7, then past tense, yesterday, I woke up at 7. Then future, tomorrow, I'll wake up at 7. This might seem simple, but behind the scenes, your brain is making profound connections. Each variation strengthens your understanding from a different angle. It's like viewing a sculpture from multiple perspectives. Only then do you truly understand its form. This approach transforms language learning from a chore into an exploration. The pleasure centers in your brain activate when you play with language this way, making the learning process feel less like work and more like discovery. What makes this technique so powerful is that it mimics how we naturally learned our first language. As children, we didn't memorize word lists. We played with language in different contexts until it became second nature. The decisions you make and how you practice have far greater impact than how many hours you spend with flashcards. When you combine these elements, simplifying, teaching, reviewing, and creating variations, language acquisition becomes inevitable rather than optional. Your relationship with the language fundamentally changes. Words aren't isolated units to be memorized, but living tools that connect to form meaning. If any of this resonates with your own language journey, write "simplicity is the key" in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how embracing mistakes actually accelerates your language acquisition. Let's explore what might be the most counterintuitive aspect of language mastery, the profound value of making mistakes. This revelation completely transforms the traditional mindset around errors. Most language learners experience a moment of dread when they say something incorrectly, mixing up gender in French or using the wrong case in German. But behind the scenes, something remarkable is happening in your brain during these uncomfortable moments. When you make a mistake while speaking or explaining, that error isn't a failure. It's a precision compass pointing directly to where your learning needs to happen. Think about it this way. If you consistently mix up der and die in German, that's not evidence of incompetence. It's your brain highlighting exactly what needs reinforcement. There's a hidden truth here that most language courses never address. The discomfort you feel when making errors is actually the sensation of your neural pathways being strengthened and reorganized. Each mistake leaves a permanent marker in your memory. Have you ever noticed how after being corrected on a particularly embarrassing error, you rarely make that same mistake again? That's because the emotional impact of the correction creates a stronger memory trace than any flashcard could. When you embrace this perspective shift, your entire relationship with the language learning journey changes. You begin to see errors not as setbacks, but as essential guideposts on your path to fluency. Of course, this powerful insight alone isn't enough. The Feynman technique provides the perfect framework, but the real magic happens through consistent, deliberate practice. This is where your decisions about how you spend your language learning time make all the difference. Rather than passive activities like endless listening or reading, the structured approach of simplifying concepts, teaching them aloud, reviewing weak points, creating variations, and learning from mistakes makes every minute of practice exponentially more effective. Setting aside dedicated time each day, even if it's just 20 minutes, creates a compound effect that gradually transforms seemingly impenetrable language barriers into bridges you can confidently cross. This isn't about putting in more hours, it's about making the hours you put in more impactful. The combination of intelligent method and regular effort creates a momentum that carries you forward even when motivation wanes. Think about what this means for your language goals. Whether you're learning for travel, work, career advancement, connecting with family, or personal growth, applying these principles consistently will fundamentally alter your trajectory. Unlike traditional methods that might leave you perpetually feeling like a beginner, this approach creates a foundation of genuine understanding that grows stronger with each practice session. If you've ever felt frustrated with your language progress despite putting in the time, type "mistakes are my compass" in the comments below. Now, let's explore how applying this framework in real-world situations can accelerate your progress beyond what you might have thought possible. So, there you have it, a complete framework that can transform how you approach not just language learning, but any complex skill. I hope you found value in these insights about simplification, teaching, creating variations, embracing mistakes, and consistent practice. What's beautiful about the Feynman technique is that it works with your brain's natural learning mechanisms rather than against them. If you've enjoyed this approach to learning and want more content that cuts through conventional wisdom to deliver practical science-backed strategies, I'd love to have you join our community. Hit subscribe if you're ready for more insights that transform how you approach learning and personal growth. For those of you who made it all the way to this point, you're clearly someone who values deep understanding over quick fixes. Drop a comment with "Feynman changed my mindset," so I know we're connected on this learning journey together. Your engagement truly helps shape the direction of future videos. If you found this valuable, a like on this video helps others discover these ideas too. It's how we build a community of thoughtful learners who appreciate substance over shortcuts. I've put together another video right here that explores how to apply these same principles to rapidly build vocabulary in any language without resorting to rote memorization. Click and continue with me over there. I think you'll find it builds perfectly on what we've covered today. Until next time, keep simplifying, teaching, and transforming how you learn.